Ricardo.
Hello, Bill.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Ricardo Rodriguez de Santiago is candidate for AIA at-large director. Again, thank you for being here. We'll jump right in. How will technology help in resolving future and current issues at the AIA?
I think one of the things we have to remember about technology, it's not something that it's not about the buzzwords. It's not a switch that we flip and all of a sudden functionalities are available to us. It involves a shift in mindset. And I think that's usually what we're missing. But we're not strangers to this shift in mindset. When we're in architectural school, as frustrating as it can be, there's a portion there at the beginning that we don't really know what we're doing. And at some point, something clicks. We're taught to think as designers. We're taught to think as in systems and use those skills to problem solve things that have to do with very complex interaction of networks between communities, complex program requirements. So very much like that, where the paradigm shift occurred, we need to apply that now to ourselves, shift that mindset towards technology. But in terms of how the world is working now, I think that there is a little bit of a misnomer that this is a discussion that is had with emerging professionals. They certainly have a better skill set for that because the younger they are, their minds are trained into how to operate in a digital first world. For some of us, we remember when the thought of getting into a car with a stranger and paying them for money, paying them for the ride with money was something totally insane. But now with Uber and Lyft, that's a second kind of guess to us, right? We don't even think about it twice anymore. That's happening within our industry, but a lot of the possibility to engage with that really occurs with our folks at the mid and senior levels engaging in that discussion, in realizing that young people are not going to resolve this for you. This is related to your business. And the more that we can open and be transparent in that discussion and education and involving the innovation programs as a means of getting our businesses ahead, the better we'll be in the long run. We'll be more relevant, we'll be more prosperous, and we'll have a better exchange with the customers we're trying to serve. So I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Can you share some specific examples on how AIA may elevate its efforts in fostering innovation nationally and at the local level?
Sure. I'm a product in a great sense of the Practice Innovation Lab. When YAF and Evelyn and some current board members and colleagues had put together the Practice Innovation Lab a few years ago, it brought together all these different minds of people very much like myself that didn't that maybe had a very keen interest on innovation and technology and new ways of operating our businesses. For me, it opened up a whole world of possibilities that there are other people that think like me. There are people that are interested in things that I'm interested. And it landed in my current role, leading and spearheading a digital innovation program globally. So it's repeating programs like this, institutionalizing them, formalizing them. The YF did a good job in creating toolkits so that local components can use these and do more of it. But I think a lot of this also has to do with us figuring out what's the framework for embedding our members into these discussions beyond our borders, in all these different types of organizations and different types of professionals that deal with innovation and technology and businesses at that. So it's a two-pronged approach, and I think we could do a lot more on it, right? By being more open. Thank you. That's a great question.
Yeah, good. Thank you. What do you see as the future role of the Strategic Council? And do you feel the role of the council will be evolving or staying the same?
Yes, I think I got a similar question in a previous webinar. I think the Strategic Council's role will definitely change. I think there's a misnomer of calling the Strategic Council a think tank. There's expectations that are raised when using that word, and I think it's mostly a kind of horizon scanning body, right, that informs the board on what's happening ahead. We've seen that there are very, I would say, steep challenges in how do we communicate the content that's generated in the council back to components, which are ultimately the folks that could put into action a lot of these contents and learnings. So it is I would say it's our fiduciary responsibility to figure out ways that we can get that content, those communications out to local components, but also make sure that the work that's being done responds to some type of rigor methodology that informs the board as well and provides them with a means of being able to lay out a roadmap for it, not just at times save it into a PDF. That's not the way we share knowledge in this day and age.
Great. If elected, how will you ensure and/or push the AIA to enact large-scale change as it relates to justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion within the profession and other allied professions?
Yeah, I've responded to this and discussed it a bit in the past. I think it has to do with us acknowledging that there is an internal look that we need to perform. I would say the talking about these things and having these lofty goals is certainly very commendable, and issuing public statements on it is. But we need to do a hard look at what are the internal barriers that at times exclude and inhibit this kind of openness to accept new people from diverse backgrounds and diverse trains of thought. A lot of that has to do with technology, but it has to do with figuring out what is it that we need to dismantle. There are some natural, I would say, structural barriers to this that it's on us to take down. Thank you, Bill. I think you're unmuted.
Yeah, Ricardo, thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.